right, let's go ahead and get started. Good evening, Michigan City, Indiana, and welcome again to another great meeting of the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission. I know that there's a lot of excitement in the community and appreciate everyone in the audience participation. And those out there in TV land, we'd love to hear from you too. So thanks for joining us today. We've got a relatively short agenda, 28 items, and a few of those are going to go pretty fast, but start with a call to order. Let the minutes reflect that all members of the commission are in attendance and that Skylar York is representing our executive director, Craig Phillips, this evening. So if you would take a look at the minutes for the executive session on August 12th and the regular meeting on August 12th, I'd love to have a motion to accept if the minutes are approved. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Next item is and Skylar, you usually run through this, the approval of claims for September. So, yes, and it's typically by entity and description. Got that. Get this pulled off of here real quick.
All right, this is the Department of Redevelopment claims docket, September 9th, 2019, payroll for July 2019, CDBG reimbursables, staff commissioners, claims operating fund is Alan Saranac, monthly retainer for August 2019, Great American Financial for a copier for August, Indiana Department of Revenue withholding tax owe for 12/18. Claims in the North TIF are PR's lawn care, landscape maintenance, North TIF, Barnes and Thornburg, legal services, Civic Plaza, MC Main Street, reimbursement for UAD banner project, Neighborhood Capital Institute for RFQs for developers for former memorial site, Baker Tilly for the continued disclosures for North TIF bonds, Fluid Coffee Borer reimbursement costs for renovations to 518 Franklin, Stanhope Consultant, outreach for Civic Plaza, acting contracting, demolition for 709 Franklin Street, PayApp 1, Hitchcock Design Group, Civic Plaza, preliminary design services, Haas & Associates Engineering services, Pine and 9th Street resurfacing.
And that just me interrupt there. That particular one we're going to go over again later in the meeting.
Yes. Alan Saranac, legal services for North TIF, Butler Fairman Saferd, Singing Sands Phase 2 design, Baker Tilly Financial Services, Civic Plaza, Servicescape for installed faucet on 7th Street, Skyline Plastering, Blue Chip, that's the Blue Chip Expansion Project, EFIS and Stucco, Plough Shadley, Retcher and Braun, Legal Services, Environmental Cost Recovery, Plough Shadley, Rasher and Braun, Legal Services for Trail Creek Properties, August Mack, Litigation Support, Trail Creek Properties, Barnes and Thornburg, Legal Services in the North TIF, Deutscher Construction, Plywood and Railing at former South Shore Station, 11th Street, SEH of Indiana for Washington Park Entry, Traffic Circle, Jay Schaffner, remove and dispose of asbestos at 816 Pine Street, Economic Development Corporation, Opportunity Zone, Prospectus, Chemcheck Inc., demolition of 816 Pine Street, the Antero Group, Waste Inc. for July of 2019, NEEF for a facade program, reimbursement for 402 Franklin Street was approved at 8/12/19, Dan Rackey for the facade program reimbursement at 115 East 9th, approved at 8/12/19, Lake Industries for right-of-way land acquisition, Singing Sands Phase 2, RC approved 8/12/19. Arnie Pallets Inc. for right-of-way land acquisition for Phase 2 of Singing Sands was approved at 8/12/19. Claims in the South TIF, PR's Lawn Care, Landscape Maintenance for South TIF, Americo Engineering for pre-demo for 355 East US Highway 20, D&M Excavation for Bozak Honda Expansion Project, Baker Tilly for continuing disclosures, South TIF bonds, Alan Saranac for legal services, South TIF, Soil Solutions, wetland delineation at 6,000 South Cleveland Ave, and Haas & Associates for constructions in Mariplex Drive. There are no claims to the Ohio Street Construction Fund, no claims to Wabash Street Fund, and no claims to the North TIF or Northeast TIF Fund.
All right. Any questions on the claims docket?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, let's go on to the financial report ended July 31st, 2019.
It's the MC, this one right here, right?
Yes.
This is the MC Department of Redevelopment balance sheet for 7/31/2019. Cash operating account is $244,555.39. South Side TIF account is $13,585,130.66. South Side TIF debt reserve account $336,000, 336 hundred. I can't even speak right now. $336,308.50. Southside TIF capital account $17,670.72. North End TIF account $4,218,516.41. Wabash Street Streetscape Construction $121,341.56. Sorry, $122,341.56. Wabash Streetscape Debt Reserve $216,072.49. Northeast TIF account is $127,101.15, and loans receivable loan to the East Side TIF from operating account is $21,028.49. County Business Loan Fund is $133,333. Total assets of $19,022,058. I can't even speak right now. $19,022,022.
You got it. You want me to do it?
Yes, please.
$19,022,058.37.
Jeez, sorry.
All right. Any questions on the balance sheet? It's the pleasure of the commission.
Support.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right. Item number 6. Let's go right into Andy Mauser with the double track project bond process approval.
Good evening, Andy Mauser with Baker Tilly, and I know Randy Rumpola with Barnes and Thornburg couldn't be here this evening, so wanted to just give you a little bit of background on the resolution that you have for approval here tonight, your resolution 7-19. So this is the final approval for the Redevelopment Commission for the double track financing. Because of the Redevelopment Authority lease structure, this is kind of the final step in order to formalize the property tax backup on the bonds, which again then give the bonds the strongest security and then the lowest interest rate throughout the term of the financing. So this resolution does that and then also establishes the funds and accounts that will be there for the Redevelopment Commission to be used for the payment of the lease rentals that will be used to make the payments on the bonds by the Redevelopment Authority. So
You might just briefly hit the history. So we approved the form of the bond about a month and a half ago, and then went to the Redevelopment Authority,
correct.
and
So
then in front of the City Council, and now it's back to us for final.
correct, and this is just kind of formalizing some of the approvals that have already been made. Now that the lease is in place between the Commission and the Authority, this kind of finalizes the flow of funds through that lease process. So very similar to a lot of your previous financings. The resolution reiterates some of your previous approvals, the $12,166,667 that will be funded for the double track project, which will come from the $5,390,000 of bonds that was approved. It also reiterates your maximum lease rental payment that you've previously agreed to of $750,000, although we certainly think that'll come in more in the $650,000 range for your maximum payment or below. And then also your maximum term of 22 years, but again, as we've previously discussed, the term of the financing will be a little bit under 20 years, and then you should have sufficient money in your debt service reserve to pay the bonds off right around year 10. So certainly quite a bit less than that 22-year financing that was approved. Also, even though the bonds are being backed by property taxes, your resolution makes mention that the Redevelopment Commission fully anticipates that you'll have sufficient TIF dollars available to make those payments, and that property tax will never be needed. And again, we estimate that you have about 1.4, 1.5 times TIF dollars times the total debt service that's paid from the Southside TIF. And then it also creates your principal and interest account or your lease account. So that's the account that your TIF dollars will go into, will be used to make the lease payments to the Redevelopment Authority, and then the Redevelopment Authority will use to make the payments on the bonds. So just kind of formalizes that flow of funds and formalizes the rest of the process. So that's the resolution. Just to kind of give you a quick update on the financing, we did submit documents to Standard & Poor's this week, or excuse me, at the end of last week, to get the rating process underway. So we'll be working with the mayor's office, with Rich Murphy's office over the next month to get the rating process finalized, get the rating in place. And they should have that rating to us by the end of the month, which will give us plenty of time to get bonds sold in early October.
On a rating basis, this is AA, AAA, AAA plus. How do we anticipate some number with that?
So the city's traditionally on your property tax back that has had an A plus rating, which is certainly very strong, and we certainly anticipate holding on to that. Obviously we'll be going through that process with them, and but they'll be assigning a rating to these bonds, which we hope will be that A plus, and then they'll also be updating the rating on other debt of the city with that property tax backup.
And the reason the rating is expected to be at A plus is because we made good on all our previous bonds, and the city's in good financial order.
Correct. So they'll look at the financial condition of the city, they'll look at your TIF coverage, they'll look at outstanding debt of the city, things like that, and those were all very favorable in the last rating report, which we did on the Ohio Street financing about a year and a half ago.
Thank you.
Yep, certainly.
So, any questions for Andy?
Andy, you have a spreadsheet with all those dollar amounts on it you were reading off of. Could you give that to Skylar? I'd just like for him to read all those dollar amounts again for us tonight.
Oh, we can
messing with you, Skylar. I'm just messing with you.
All right, and I just one other comment, a question kind of thing is, number one, thank you, and I see Johnny Stimley and our councilman in the audience. Thank you for your support of the resolution and getting this passed. It does put us in a very good position with Nick D and the rest of the state, frankly, getting the double track through. And also, I believe anyway, this puts us in line to make our obligation of putting the funds into the Indiana Finance Authority by October 22nd, right? So we'll probably do that around the 15th or something, or?
I think the current plan is to try and sell bonds on October 3rd, and then we would close on October 17th, so you would have funds available on the 17th.
To make the deposit and fulfill our obligation.
Exactly.
All right. Any other questions? What's the pleasure of the commission? Second, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We're still on track for the double track. That's great. So, not quite as clever as you, Mayor. Let's go on to item 7. Skylar, could you go over the facade request for Carroll's Street, sir?
Absolutely. I think I can handle this one. This is I'll just kind of read my little summary.
Sure, please.
Yeah. So this is today's date. The Redevelopment Commission facade improvement for Miss Carol Spreitzer at 622, 624 Franklin Street. Just a little quick rundown on the project. The owner of this building will be tuck pointing areas of the structure that have weathered over the years. The building is a notable building in the Franklin Street Historic District and historically known as the Brinkman Building. It's identified as number 73 in the LaPorte County Interim Report. Notable buildings carry significant value as contributing to the historic fabric of a designated historic district. Tuck pointing this building will help preserve the integrity of the structure while maintaining a valuable asset within the downtown and the Franklin Street Historic District. Tuck pointing does require historic review approval, and the owner will be on the September 23rd agenda. Tuck pointing is allowable and encouraged by the guidelines and standards for rehabilitation. So the total project cost is, I looked at her bids and her estimates. She did get them, and none of them exceeded $5,000. So she requested $5,000. But the total project is $5,000. The amount to be paid by the owner will be $2,000. So they're requesting 60% of that $5,000, which is about $3,000 to the commission.
And they would be reimbursed the $3,000 after completion.
Correct. And you might remember I mentioned the 23rd meeting. So if we do choose to approve this for Ms. Spreitzer, it would be contingent upon approval by the Historic Review Board at the 23rd. But I don't foresee any issues with that because it is encouraged and absolutely they want to see things. They want to see it get tuck pointed. So.
Well, it also preserves the building.
And absolutely, and we have met with Deb Parcell already on site. Both I and Deb have met with Carol, and I don't foresee any issues at that meeting. But yeah.
All right. So, questions for Skylar? What's the pleasure of the commission?
Support.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. So Skylar, just in general, about how many of these facades have we contributed to?
And this year we see how many have we done. Let me start to think. I haven't been involved in all of them. This will be my first one that I've been involved in. I would have been at the other. I've just taken over this program, but I would say maybe at least 6 or 7 that I could recall
there were some,
offhand.
There was at least probably a dozen last year.
Yeah, there's got to be. Yeah, and I know the small ones, the big ones. Yeah. So
Certainly a noticeable improvement. So, any further discussion? All right, moving on. Thank you. Item 8, property use request by the city of Michigan City. Abigail, I didn't see Abigail here. So, I don't know. Skylar, do you happen to know exactly what the request is?
It's in an email there.
I have it here.
I'm just gonna try to summarize it.
All right, sure.
Excuse me. How about if I just read this email?
Sure.
I would like to request that the following be put on the agenda for September 9th. Use of the north lot at 7th and Franklin Street in order to host a family event including roller skating activities, games, food, and more from 11 to 6 p.m. on September 14th. That would be this coming Saturday. I've placed this on a Board of Works agenda for the 9/3 meeting, requesting approval for road closure for this event. Thank you very much. So in summary, they're bringing in a roller. This company comes in and sets up roller skating rinks, small roller skating rinks. They provide skating rentals. I don't know if I don't think it's a cost. I think maybe it's free to do. But they will be setting up on that lot, and she's already requested the street closures and everything for that. So she's just kind of waiting on your guys' approval for.
They were already approved by the board. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the road closure is 7th.
7th Street. That's correct.
All right. What's the pleasure?
Say one more thing too is that when you hear roller skating in municipalities, it makes me cringe and it makes Charlie Keene cringe, who's our insurance agent. Charlie and I have talked about this. The insurance policy that's been provided by the roller skating people includes us as an insurer. So
Sure.
we're in okay shape on that one.
Absolutely.
Move for approval of the use of this property for this event.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. All right, item 9, demolition quote for 355 US Highway 20. You want to hit this one, Skylar?
I know that we've requested a quote. I don't know that we've received one yet, at least not to my knowledge, but Steve is here tonight, and he might be able to shed a
Okay, thank
little
you.
light on that.
Good evening, Steve Travis, Americo Engineering. We requested quotes for the demolition of 355 East US Highway 20, and we actually received 3 quotes. They were opened on August 29th in an informal meeting with Craig at the planning office, and the first quote was from Acton Contracting Inc. It was for $3,600 for quote number 1. Quote number 2 was $32,190,
God bless you.
and bless you. The alternate was $14,400 for a grand total of $50,190. The second bid was received from Jay Schaffner, general contractor. Quote number 1 for asbestos remediation was $600. Quote number 2 for the demolition was $9,000. And the alternate was $800 for a grand total of $10,400. And then Safe Environmental Corporation submitted a quote just for number 1, which was the asbestos remediation for $1,275. So we recommended to Craig to award the contract to Jay Schaffner in the grand total of $10,400. But this might need
Quite a
to.
spread, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure what
a big
what
difference.
Acton was looking at there. It's a house. It's a typical house demolition. So,
Okay. Well, that's why we put out for bid, so.
quotes.
Quotes, excuse me.
Sorry, I
Thank
gotta
you.
stress that. Yeah.
So when I say that for quotes, is it, you just accept the quote and then we have a contract with them? Is that what it works, Alan?
We've asked for quotes, we've gotten quotes, we're basically approving the one quote that we've received, we'll develop a contract with them, and so what you're doing tonight is to approve the quote as recommended for that amount of money, and then giving Don the authorization to execute the contract once that's been completed.
Can you read the Schaffner's bit? Her
Sure.
quote
It
one
was
more time?
it was in the amount of $10,400 for quote number 1, quote number 2, and alternate number 1. So the grand total of $10,400.
All right, so what's the pleasure of the commission? This is the house back on the property. We're behind Mariplex Drive that we've been working with for some time now. So.
That we had the squatter.
Right. Thank you. All right, so do we want to demolish his house or we want to? All
But
right.
is that for not to exceed
Second.
10,400? Right,
That's their total contract, $10,400. Yep, not to exceed.
Got a motion, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Good work. Oh, wait, let me keep you up here since I saw you farther down on the agenda. We'll make this a little bit more efficient. Number 13, 709 Franklin Street update, or you prepared for that?
So Acton submitted a payment application. I believe it was red. The demolition is pretty much complete. The grass is taking, which is starting to look pretty good. The payment application, there was a 5% retainage. We have some issues with the sidewalk out front that we're looking into getting repaired. We had a contractor out there looking to mud jacket because it had slumped down, and he said it had previously been ground, so he said he wouldn't be able to mud jacket. So we're looking at tear out and pour some new sidewalk.
So we don't have a number at this point, or we do?
We are getting quotes from contractors at this point. So
Okay, so this, I suppose it's just kind of
just an update
you
here.
just move ahead, right?
Right, exactly.
So, because you anticipate it's going to be within the 5%?
About $6,400 withheld. It should be sufficient. So.
Okay with that, Alan? All right. So do we need to take formal action or just? Okay,
Okay.
good to go.
All right. Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thank
So
you.
as long as it gets in before it freezes, right? So-
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to item number 10. I guess I'll take that one. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's have John Doyle give us an update on the Memorial Hospital site project. Always use a little more paper, sure.
They don't like joking around over here, John. No, they're serious, yeah.
Good evening. Basically, what I've just handed to
Excuse me,
you.
John, you're going to have to state your name for the record, even though we all know you. Please.
Okay, I'm John Doyle and Associates. The letter basically is a request for additional services on our professional contract, which I guess will be discussed at a later meeting. If I can get into this thing. The third page is kind of an overview of the cost to complete this project. And the fourth page is just a small picture of what needs to be completed. So if we can talk about the fourth page a little bit. What needs to be done is in the shaded in gray. This is within the original scope of the contract. What it amounts to is about 3/4 of the concrete work of the parking area over the storm trap system, which is, I will say, will be in the upper right-hand part of the paper. The other are the roadways or passageways through the project that have not been completed. Everything else within the scope of the project, the sewers, water, sanitary sewer, etc., that has all is in place. The other shaded area along 6th Street is an addition, if you choose to do so, to the entire project. And that would be the installation of new sidewalks, curbs, pavements, etc. On the third page, the balance to complete the project is $455,283.20. This is off of Woodruff's last pay request, number 5. The reason we're taking the concrete work out, which would be the roadways or passageways in the project and the storm trap parking area, is we have a substantial increase or proposed increase in cost for that concrete work. We have a cost of 22% increase from the subcontractor, Woodruff subcontractor for that work. That amounts to roughly $50,000. Assuming that you would choose to accept that, you have $534,000 to complete the project. We have an additional cost for extras to date, which was the building of the building pads and building pad for building number 1, and also the parking garage. The $92,000 or roughly $93,000 is includes also the removal of all the additional piping, walls, everything else that we found on the site in order to make it green, I guess is the word, or clean. So that cost is basically fixed at this point. Cost to finish, assuming what you choose to do with respect to the concrete work, $626,859.25. Payment to date, which is $1,138,832.51. Total cost of construction at this point, $1,765,691.77. That does not include the cost of an estimated cost of $190,000 for the 6th Street improvements, should you choose to do so. So you're looking at $1,900,000 roughly.
So I guess I had a little discussion with Craig about this before he left, and Scott, maybe you can chime in here, but I wanted the impression that there might be some value in us, particularly with not knowing where the new developer is going to go, with us holding off on the concrete roads and the concrete on top of the storm trap, and then potentially pursuing the 6th Street part of the project, and then holding till the future to pursue the concrete at a later date. Is that what you had heard?
Not exactly.
All right, well, fair enough, then. Fine, okay, go ahead.
I thought we were going to do so the storm trap. We need to finish the concrete on top of it because it's part of the structural integrity
Okay, good enough.
Yeah.
of the whole system.
Right.
There's a piece of it that without the 9-inch cap on it, when it's structurally rated, it doesn't meet that structural integrity right now. We need to finish that.
Okay.
Once that's finished, you can drive on it, you can park on it, you can pull a tractor on top of it. It's not going to go anywhere. So when we get a new developer in there, if they were to pull on top of it, it won't collapse. It won't have the potential for that. Sitting things on it. I don't know what we said. I don't remember what we said about 6th Street though.
I thought that we had an offset here.
We were going to look at it. I remember
perhaps
that.
not pursuing the road.
Yeah, the roads we weren't going to look at because we don't know. The roads could change.
This is the road between the buildings.
Yeah.
When we went
The
back
access
and forth
roads.
over on fire trucks and all that stuff. Right?
Yeah, the access roads are not built. They're just kind of graveled in right now. The iron's sticking up. I think we were going to hold off on that concrete just from not knowing if the new developer might want a building to inch over on that, something like that. And we hated to tear up the concrete, but the storm trap absolutely really needs to be completed for its structural integrity of that system.
Okay. So what specifically is the request this evening then?
I don't know what the request would be.
I thought that, okay, well, following your line of reasoning,
Yeah.
the request is to cover the cost, the additional cost for the concrete over the storm trap.
Absolutely.
Hold on the road costs within the project.
Yes.
And then if we want to pursue the 6th Street piece of it, to get that cleaned up before.
I think that was going to be discussed at a later date. At this point in time, I think we were going to hold as much as we could until we. There's a lot of unknown right now with respect to what's going to happen to it in the near future. And I think finishing the storm trap makes sense to me because if we choose another developer, we need to give them a finished product for them to use. And then we also have some street things under where we had a water main burst.
Right.
That may include some. Hopefully, it doesn't include anything more, but it could include some other items. But I think we were going to deal with 6th Street at a different date.
Okay,
if I'm not
so to
mistaken.
get the storm trap piece completed, is there an increase relative to cost?
50,000. If you accept this 22%.
That was the question. If you accept the 22%, or if we go with a different contractor, or want to look at a different contractor.
Of course, we've been working with Woodruff and yourself from the beginning. I'm not sure, is it worth the time and effort to try to get somebody else in to?
Well, it's
Mr. Doyle, do you have an idea why there was a 22% increase in that work price? An idea?
I can speculate.
Let's hear your speculation.
Subcontractor did not look at the project in its scope and didn't realize what was involved in actually putting this cap on top of this system, and they're in an attempt to pick up the funds they thought they left on the table.
we had a discussion last time that most of this finished work is flat work. We could potentially look at going with a different contractor. But we were going to have a discussion with Woodruff, and there's still a few things that we need to discuss at this time. But like I said, we did nail down that this piece was the most important piece to get done. And then with part of this, we asked John in trying to figure out what we're else we're going to do with this project, to give us an estimate for 6th Street as well. But at that time, I think we're still to the point where we probably just want to hold off on making a decision on 6th Street and just kind of get this piece of this project
Right, so
finished.
it still begs the question to continue with the existing contractor for the storm trap cover or not. We should have a recommendation for that.
I think Craig was under the impression. I don't think Craig wanted to do that, to move forward with the 22% increase. I think he was pretty against that. It was that's a lot of increase,
Fair enough.
and we're coming to the end of the season again. So
Well, I think you have kind of a unique situation. You have a contract with Woodruff and Sons. They're the contractor for this project.
Right.
It's the subcontractor that is basically asking for this increase. Yes, sir. Woodruff's obligation, since this project has dragged out so long, I don't know where we sit legally. That would be Mr. Cernak's bailiwick, just how we could handle this. If we were still under the time frame of the original contract and this came up, you've got some leverage. Since it's beyond the time frame that this was supposed to be done, I don't know what leverage you have on the contract. I think we can make an adjustment, or I'd be willing to make an adjustment in how this slab is constructed, that perhaps we can save a few dollars. There is an increase in cost for other concrete work on this project of around 7.5%. which I think is in the ballpark for waiting. I don't agree with the 22%, but we still need to work with Woodruff, or through Woodruff, as I see it, to get this thing completed. As far as 6th Street is concerned, here again, I don't know if you can add that to this contract with an agreement from Woodruff, or if you need to rebid that, or bid that portion of the project.
Top of my head, I don't know the answer to that second question, but the first question is that, am I remembering correctly that part of the reason why we're a year delayed on the concrete slab as well as some other things is because Woodruff put us behind the 8 ball by their delays? Am I remembering that correctly?
Not necessarily.
No, I don't think so.
The biggest delay came,
I know it came on our end, I know that.
pardon?
I know that came on our end, but I think there was also some things that they were supposed to have done, and they were telling us they couldn't do that because of they were late getting things done last year for the weather. I'm not.
I would have to look back through
Yeah, I
my
think I do
notes
too.
for that. I don't recall them.
Yeah, I don't remember that on this project. I think that was
Something else. Okay, all right.
So.
I don't recall any major delays. There may have been a few days or something like that.
Oh, we did pay some
Woodruff
extra for
end.
some cold weather work, as I
Yeah.
recall.
Yeah, we got into the cold weather work for the concrete, which we paid for winterized concrete. We also paid for blankets, or the Redevelopment Commission. They paid this subcontractor for the cold weather work, and, or I'll say for the delay, regardless of who was responsible. But to finish, we need to finish the work, even if it's just the storm trap cap. I think needs to be done.
So let me ask this, just an open question. So you said you thought the 7.5 was reasonable?
That's basically reasonable.
So if we authorize you to move ahead with a 7.5% increase, would that get this off the dime? If you could get their contractor to, negotiate down to 14.5% or whatever.
Well, that would certainly help. We need to get moving.
But John is right, though, and we deal with Woodruff on this, not necessarily Reith Riley.
Right.
Because we deal with the contractor and not the subcontractors, because we don't have a contract with the subcontractors.
Right. No, I understand that, but he's making an estimate on what we might have paid differently to Woodruff.
Right.
So
So I think just do it with Woodruff and see what happens. Yeah, I agree with that.
All right.
So let me make sure. So you're going to authorize him to move forward with the 7.5% to Woodruff. That's correct. So okay.
to finish the storm
To finish
trap
the storm trap.
portion.
Okay.
If you feel that's appropriate, John.
Well, I think it should be done, as we've spoken, it's a structural, the cover is a structural aspect of the storm trap system. Right now, it's been barricaded off since November.
Right.
Once a developer gets in, another developer would come in, you can do your best to keep them off of the
Yeah,
thing, but you never know.
Sure.
If they want to,
operator runs over the top of it with a
right.
whatever.
So I think we should make every effort to get that done this year, and hopefully we can.
So does the commission have enough information to make a motion, or do we want to have further discussion? What's the pleasure?
Move forward with the 7%. But John, there's no guarantee that there's limited amount of contractors that do this type of work anyway. That it could, the cost is the cost of. I mean, if we could negotiate the 7%, that might be the best route. Asking your opinion, basically, but because we could have another contractor evaluate this. They could be right there where Reith and Riley is, possibly, or do you just sincerely believe they're just out of range here?
I believe they're out of range.
Okay, yeah. Well, then we should negotiate with Woodruff and Sons and see if we can get the cost down.
All right, so it's the pleasure of the commission, and I'm assuming Skylar, you and Craig would be involved in somebody working with John?
We've been in contact with John. There was a few unknowns with this, but yes, we've been working with John, and I think we may even have more to talk about at our next meeting, like an update or know where we're at a little bit more. We just met with John last week, so it's been really kind of a tight time frame.
So I'd entertain a motion to authorize John and Craig and Skylar to negotiate with Woodruff for up to a 7.5% increase relative to the concrete work on top of the storm trap system. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that would be fine. Would you look into the aspect of whether or not the 6th Street can be an attachment to Woodruff's contract in this case, or if that needs to be put out for individual bidding?
You'd be willing to take that on? All right, so Alan's going to pursue that piece of it. And this other piece,
I'd move the authorization.
Support.
moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Okay,
Good
thank
luck,
you.
John. We're counting on you. Thanks. So just another sidebar update on this project. We did have an update in our executive committee. I forgot you on that, Alan, too. So relative to our contractor that's looking at a future developer on the site, they have issued a request for proposals. We started with requests for quotes from a number of potential developers and are now focusing on 2. And she's asked and has recently got the proposals back from them and is in the process of evaluating that and anticipates that by the end of the month here, they will have a recommendation back to the commission relative to who to pursue further negotiations with. And so I anticipate we come back and suggest more or less somebody to at least go a little bit farther into the negotiations with to keep moving the project along. So, any other questions or comments on that? All right, moving on to Ohio Street project. Rich Deal. I don't see Rich here. Is there any update on Ohio Street? I think things are moving along.
I believe John Gorshik is here. He might could give us a little
Excuse me, John. Thank
small
you.
update on if there's
You
any
didn't
issues.
look like Rich, so thank you.
Good evening, John Gorsica with the Michigan City Sanitary District. Been overseeing the Ohio Street project. We have one, if you want to say major issue, is we have a settlement of a manhole at the intersection of Ohio Street and US 20. We've been in contact with Reith Riley in regards to fixing that. They wanted to wait till after Labor Day and talked to Rich on Friday, Richie Deal from Structure Point, and they said that they're going to schedule it for this week sometime to come in, set up maintenance of traffic on US 20, and mill and resurface that area. Other than that, there is just 2 minor items of bolting stormwater castings down into the concrete, but this manhole issue at the corner of, or at the intersection of US 20 and Ohio Street, hopefully is done by the end of the week. I'll be talking to Rich tomorrow in regards to scheduling it.
So do you anticipate that they will cover that under their contract, or?
That's correct. Yes.
So, and I know there was some questions about the manhole.
And
Attachments,
the
that's-
manholes, we've gotten complaints of rattling manholes all the way down on southbound on Ohio Street. Been in contact with East Jordan Iron Works to see if there is a solution to the rattling manholes. One, we did take one out that was rattling, cleaned it out very well, replaced it, and it seems to be working. You know, it's not rattling anymore. But who's to say that, you know, with this blowing sand that we get and gravel from the roadway, that stuff might not be slip underneath it and cause it to rattle.
So do we have other manholes we lock down and then you keep some material out and then you, when you repair or something, you unbolt it somehow or something?
Only on the force mains.
Oh, okay.
Okay, those are the only ones I'm familiar with that are bolted down. There was a suggestion of putting mastic around the inside cover of the manhole, but it was also mentioned that by putting that mastic all the way around it, it's going to raise that manhole cover up a half inch, which then we get into issues of snow removal and so on. But we're going to be contacting East Jordan Ironworks again, see if they've come up with a solution to the rattling manholes.
So are you satisfied so far with the manhole issue in general relative to the work they've done and the way they've been installed?
Well, say completely satisfied, no. I know we ran into issues with the placement of the manholes on the southbound because I'd say every one of them, but the majority of them are in the wheel track, and the placement of those could have been looked into a little better. But reasons I was given that they had to be where they were was because of the maintenance of traffic. It was requirement.
Otherwise would have delayed the project to get the construction done.
Yeah,
Right?
it was a requirement of the project to have the
Maintain
road
the road.
open while they were working.
Sure.
And if we would have closed the road, it would have been one thing, but we couldn't close the road.
So that's part of the compromise.
Yeah.
All right.
Mr.
So
Chairman?
anything else that you suggest? Or?
Yeah, I just got a couple questions about the project. There's several AT&T, the green cylinder boxes that are knocked over with wires hanging out along the corridor there. And I don't know if that's a result of the project or if they've been contacted and they haven't came out there, but I mean, they're completely with wires exposed, they're knocked over. I don't know if that's something we should follow up on or if...
I understand. And
Yeah.
we'll follow up to discuss it with Rich tomorrow and see if it was part of the project. I don't believe it was parts of the project, but
Yeah.
especially on with the east side where the apartments are and everything.
Yeah, it looks bad also, I mean, but,
Yes.
and then, maybe I can give you some techniques on that manhole cover of rocking without raising it too. I think there's some ways we can do this.
All right, I appreciate it.
I'll let you engineers work on it for another 6 months and then we'll get back to you.
Okay,
Yeah, there you go.
all right.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, John.
Thanks, John.
Okay, so let's move on to item number 12 is the US 12 bridge. However, we really don't have much of an update there. I know the process is moving along. I talked with Chris Murphy. Didn't have anything new and exciting to go over there. At some point, we will be figuring out what we want to do with the medallions or whatever else, other attachments we want to have on the railing itself. And then, so let me move down to, I want to adjust the agenda here a little bit and start with item 16, unless somebody else has a question on US 12. Let me just finish that. Anything else on 12? All right. I know John had to step out for the rest of the meeting. We go down to item 16, Pine and 9th Street paving update. Haas and Associates.
Good evening, Tom Wyman, Senior Project Manager with Haas & Associates. Earlier today at 10 a.m. we had a bid opening for the Pine and 9th Street resurfacing project. We then went back and reviewed the bids for compliance, and we're here to give you the bid summary. Reith Riley Construction Company, Inc. has been confirmed as the lowest, most responsive bidder at a base bid of $556,669.44 and an alternate bid cost of $136,935.20. We looked over their bid. All the required documents have been signed and included in their bid package. We have also received confirmation from the Michigan City Human Rights Department, Mr. Carl Riddle, that everything was included and looked good. If it's within the city, the RDC's budget, we recommend issuing the notice of award to Reith Riley Construction Inc. for both the base bid and alternate bid at a total contract cost of $693,604.64.
Okay, so just a little clarification on this. Back in May, our May 21st meeting, we had a North TIF funding commitment of $600,000 for milling and paving of Pine from 12th to 11th Street and 9th Street from Washington to Wabash. So we all supported that. Now, I understand that there is, maybe you can help me with this, Skylar, that did not include the overheads relative to engineering and inspection. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so, and then also the bids came in at, what did the bids come in at? They were,
For the bids you just read.
Yeah, slightly higher, $693,604.64.
okay.
I'm carrying Skylar's thing on. I got all caught up in my head back there thinking I'm going to do the same thing. Here I am.
So, and then also I
Too many
understand
numbers today.
that, okay, so that would bring the total need for the request from the RDC to $93,604. However, I understand there's another $73,540 relative to engineering and inspection.
Correct.
Okay, so the total request to finish this project out, or this portion of the paving, is for another approximately $167,000. Is that correct?
Correct.
So that's the request for us this evening to finish the project within the North TIF.
That'll include the extra for engineering and oversight, and it will include the extra. That 167 includes the extra addendum item as well, or
The
alternate.
Correct.
Just for clarification.
So design, engineering, inspection, and construction. That would include everything up for that project.
Correct.
So I didn't do the exact math, but it's just a little over $167,000. So
I would move for approval of the project.
second. Second. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, so while I got you up here, Tom, I'm assuming that, no, I think that's it for you. Thank you.
That's it for me.
You're like, oh no.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Sorry about that.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, so then let me go to item 15, Franklin Street paving, approvals from Global Engineering. So let's try this one.
Good evening, Martin Bobchek, Global Engineering. At the same meeting this morning at 10 a.m., we opened bids for the Franklin Street rehab project. 2 bids were received from Reith Riley and Walsh Kelly. Both were complete and responsive. For the bid package that we're recommending award for, the 2 bids that were received were from Reith Riley and Walsh Kelly. Reith Riley's was in the amount of $1,046,047.71, and Walsh Kelly's bid was in the amount of $1,248,433.28. Like I said, both were complete and responsive, and Reith Riley was the apparent low bidder, and we recommend award for the base bid and alternate bid in that amount. So that's the total for the two.
So I'm trying to determine what we had approved previously for this.
It was roughly 1,049,000.
Okay. And the bids came in total at,
1,046,000.
so it's about 2,000 less bids came in. However, does that include all engineering and overhead prices for that?
No, that's only construction fees.
So, and do you have an estimate for that other piece?
No, I wasn't, not on me at this time. I wasn't aware we were going to be discussing that.
I thought I had scored this in my notes earlier, but evidently not. So
I thought actually that was some of the requests from the engineering department, ours over the last week or two, was that
I have it here.
we
I
needed to
have
know,
it.
we got it, of the design.
I've got it here.
Okay,
So
okay.
this is again from our May 21st meeting. We had a TIF, Southside TIF commitment amount not to exceed $1,049,971.20. The bid came in at $1,046,047.71. So approximately 2,500 something under the bid. And then there's also an engineering charge that was not accounted for in our original approval of $329,012. $29,012.50. $29,012.50. I didn't say that right either. We're having all kinds of trouble. 329,012.50. How's that? So, and then you would subtract off of that the 2,000. So the new addition is in the amount of approximately $327,000 relative to cover the engineering and overhead, less the 2,000 that the bids came in under. Does that sound correct to you?
That could be. If you
You're
want,
not giving me a
I
lot of
could.
confidence here. So
Yeah. If you want, if we could save this for the end, I could get in contact with Shem and clear this up because.
well, we've been in contact for this is. I have
Yeah,
a
it's
general
ongoing,
concern that we haven't got to clarity with multiple meetings on this, and I'm very certain that next year, if I'm involved in it, it's going to get a lot clearer than this a lot sooner because we have a governing body here that takes a lot of pride in getting the numbers down for what a project is, and the reason we have a public meeting like this is to clarify and go through those numbers. And this is not rocket science to say that we approved $1,049,000, the bids come in at $1,046,000, but that was without the overheads. So now tonight the request is for us to put the overheads in relative to engineering and inspection, which is in the amount of $327,000. So $329,000, excuse me. So it shouldn't be too hard for somebody to reconcile like 5 lines and just present it to us so that we could understand it.
Okay.
So-
I thought we were under a different understanding of where the funding for engineering and inspection was coming from.
But that's
So-
exactly right. So
Right,
originally
so-
it was going to go to,
I think that's how we started
city.
out this
However-
project, actually.
in terms of explaining it to this commission, we need to get a lot more succinct in our numbers and how they're presented. And I anticipate that not only our own staff should be able to stay on top of this, but also, in particular, the people we're counting on to run the projects. So I would hope that when you come, you're prepared to run through what was approved, what was bid, what was missed, whatever else is required for us to succinctly go through this, because I'm a little bit more familiar with this than some of my fellow commissioners, but I'm pretty confident that the other commissioners up here, it's really easy to get lost in the numbers. So with all that, I would suggest that the commission approved an approximately, and I'm going to give the approximate number because I didn't write down the exact number, Deb, but it's in the range of $327,000 more for the Franklin Street Valentine Court project.
And that would include the design, engineering, and
Signage,
inspection once
that should be
again.
the whole thing. So, and that would bring the project from $1,346,000 to approximately $1,360,000, something in that range. So 325,089. Excuse me, I didn't do my math right. Well, try this. Is that what you get? Yes. There we go. That's better than me doing it in my head. So I was off by $4,000. So thank you. All right. So with that, does the commission need anything else to move ahead?
I would make a motion to move forward with the Franklin Street construction project, receive that bid, accept that bid, and include the inspection and engineering included in that price.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Just to be clear on that, what we're actually approving then is for the total project or the additional money on top of what was approved on May 21st, 19, the additional $325,089.01 on top of what was already been approved.
Yes,
Correct.
that's correct. All right, then I've got one more item here. And let's go over,
Village.
yes, the Village Road paving update and approvals from Global.
At the same meeting this morning, we opened bids for the Village Road Rehabilitation Project. Two responsive bidders were Reith Riley and Walsh Kelly. For the two division totals for base bid, Reith Riley submitted $576,649.11. Walsh Kelly had submitted $687,222.89. Reith Riley was the lowest bidder, and we recommended awarding the two division base bids to Reith Riley. And there was also an alternate that was requested by the sanitary district that we include in our project for repaving a portion of Crestwood Drive south of Village Road, where they were going to be doing some work for Haas and Associates project, stormwater project. That would take it well beyond the construction budget that was established. I know that there's one set amount of money for both projects to occur. So in light of that, it'd be at your discretion whether or not you want to accept it, but we'd imagine we want to stick to just Village Road and just repaving in that section.
All right, so we have a little, again, kind of a question. Going back to our May 21st meeting, we approved $950,000 for Village Road. And so the Southwind Drive drainage improvements from the remaining bond funds from Ohio Street, we certified. So any remaining funds from that would be used for repaving and reconstruction of Village Road. So I don't know, at least I haven't seen anyway, maybe there's an accounting for it someplace, what were the drainage improvements, is the way I understand this in reading it, that were to be taken first off the 950, and then the remainder would be left for the repaving, but maybe I'm misunderstanding exactly what was approved.
So the budget that was set before was that it was $950,000 for the Southgate
Just the paving.
for Southgate drainage project.
Right,
$950,000.
exactly. So I'm trying to figure what
then-
was the drainage part relative to,
So it's currently being bid, so they haven't received. Right. The bid date is later, so if we just stick within our budget, I think we can still move forward with the project.
well, it depends on what the drainage stuff comes from, because the other piece that will come is just, we're planning to take the $950,000 out of our bond proceeds. So for my 2 cents, it'd be worth us getting the numbers relative to the drainage project, and that compared, figure out what that affects, what's available with remaining in the bond, and then if we have to appropriate some additional monies, unless somebody else wants to do something differently, because we got so much left in the bond, and you got the paving portion and you got the drainage portion, and right now you just got the bids for the paving portion, so we don't have the bids for the drainage problems, as I
So
understand. understand.
The paving portion would be from 421 to 1,000 feet east of Crestwood, correct? On Village, you would pave Village from 421, and my understanding is 1,000 feet from Crestwood, because that's where the stormwater work would happen.
Approximately 600 feet east of Crestwood, yes.
Okay, east
1,000
600
foot from Ohio, yes.
Oh, 1,000 foot from Ohio. Okay, and that dollar amount is the.
So that amount is Division 1,
Mm-hmm.
which for the low bidder would be Reith Riley again, $341,905.43. Now the part that overlaps is Division 2, which was
Yeah, we'll just talk about Division 1 because I think we can move forward with that. I mean, we're running out of paving time. That's strictly paving. There's no stormwater work in that section
Correct.
whatsoever. The stormwater work occurs, like you say, west of there.
Mhm.
I mean, we're
Well, it's okay, I mean.
time constraints
No,
as far as
I understand
paving.
that.
We have-
So
and
I'm
we do have
assuming
the-
that's
Sorry.
above and beyond what is remaining in the bonds. That would be a separate allocation of South TIF funds. Is that where you're going, Mayor? The
No,
340?
no, that
it was
pretty much we can award Division 1 at this time since it's outside of the limits of the Southgate neighborhood project. We'd still be under the budget. And after the award for Southgate, we can accept the second division at that time if there is funds left over.
So, all right, so let me go back to, what is your understanding what the budget is?
$550,000 for our project, and then $950,000 for the Southgate.
Okay, excuse me, all right.
so it's under their.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay.
So one vote's fine with that, so.
I
In
thought
the
so.
550?
In the 550, I believe that in the last email that I was seeing, it was $90,000 in, I believe, in design and inspection fees for. I mean, that was in the email with Spike and Craig and everybody else.
Yeah, I always was under the understanding that the design and engineering inspection was part of the residual of the bond for the Village Road project. That's what, I mean.
I understand that piece. It's just, what did the numbers come in from both bids, so. yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people saying my understanding, that's the problem, and everybody has a different
Exactly, so-
understanding.
It's- Right.
And the road is deteriorating badly out there too. I mean, yeah.
So is that a motion, a second?
Support.
And does the 341 include engineering or not?
At this time, no, this 341 does not include engineering.
But we need to know that cost, so yeah, we may have to let you come back up if you can find that out for us, and we'll revisit it down or something.
Okay.
Because we need to know that.
Well, it needs to be added into it so we don't have to come back, so we can move forward.
Yeah, so can you review your notes and we'll continue with a couple other items and come back to us with the engineering number?
Yes.
So we'll add that to, okay, so let's postpone this for a vote for a few minutes and move on with the other agenda items.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so going to item, I think it's item 18. I ticked off the ones right here. Alan, would you like to cover this?
Just, I received their proposed agreement late morning, early afternoon, and has still not, well, I haven't had a chance to finish all of it, but I also, in conversation with them, we have as I said in Butch Cassidy, we have a failure to communicate. And so I will call them first thing tomorrow morning, address those areas specifically where we are not communicating effectively on, and get some specific numbers on that. And then I'll just send you an email in terms of where I think we are with regards to this contract. There are certain things we can rule out of it from what they originally put in there, specifically the environmental. And we do have a bid from August Mac that we will, rather than do it at this point, we'll just do it all at the same time so we have an idea of what this cost is going to be as it relates for property acquisition and environmental aspects of the double track project and the
So
station
this is
block
the station
project.
block
Yeah.
agreement for property acquisition to make sure that we comply with standards set by the federal government, right? So more to come on that. Any other questions there? Let me jump down to item 21. I see our fluid friends here. It's with Allison and Chuck. Would you like to hit that, Alan? 518 Franklin Street, fluid coffee.
I asked Allison and or Chuck, since they're both here, to just kind of give us an update on where we are with my coffee addiction's coming in. When are you opening?
Tell you like this. Please state your name for the record and your address.
Gates.
Charles Gates or Chuck.
One more thing just to say before they get started. Earlier tonight in the claims docket, there was a claims for this project, and our 38,000, I think it was, or 35,000. $35,000 for this project. So basically, what the $35,000 is for, and where we are in terms of how close to opening up.
Sure. So we're shooting for hopefully Halloween as a grand opening. We've had some delays in the beginning, getting our downstate permits and things like that, or licensing, but we're back on track and moving along. So we're just at that stage of kind of finishing off the trades, the HVAC, electrical, and plumbing, and we get to move into the fun part now. So
Buying light fixtures. I'm happy.
we're eager to get the roaster in there. That's kind of like we need to get through this stuff so we can get that roaster set up in there. So that's going to take a little time.
So the construction inside the building is underway.
It is,
that
yeah.
correct? Great.
It's going good.
And this is just for the rest of the community. I think this is the Eagles or Elks building is commonly
Right.
referred to on Franklin Street. So
Perfect for a Halloween grand opening.
Ah.
If you see the building, it's perfect for that Halloween grand opening.
Right.
That's what we're shooting for. So it could be a big kind of party.
So Alan, you're fine with our dispersals and everything?
Yes.
So
Thanks.
any other comments, questions? So well, thank you for joining us. It's exciting. So
Thank you.
and looking forward to your contribution to the city. So
Great.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, guys.
All right, let me back up to item 19. Alan, you're still up. Yes.
And again, same thing that we just did with Fluid Coffee is that we've been approving claim requests, making payments, and I thought it was now be an appropriate time to just see where we are in terms of the project.
Good evening, Kevin Spence, Larson Danielson. Since the last meeting, we've removed the contaminated soils and the asbestos piping located at the existing facility. I thought I'd share with you a report back from Heartland Engineering regarding the contaminated soils. It states Heartland has received an all bottom and sidewall soil confirmation sampling results from the over excavation at the former Bozak Honda facility in Michigan City. Has received them based on the results of the sampling. No impacts were encountered in any of the soil confirmation samples that exceeded applicable IDEM remediation closure guides or residential direct contact screening levels. No additional action is warranted at this time, and soil removal activities appear to have been successful in removing all impacted soils in the area of the site. We expect to see a all-inclusive follow-up report by the end of business tomorrow. Meanwhile, we have brought the building pad up to grade. We've excavated foundations. Larson Danielson is in the process of pouring footings and below grade masonry walls. My 3-week look ahead includes we intend on pouring the south half of the building. The owner is in the process of securing lifts and high lead time items. So in an effort to
You mean car lifts for inside?
car lifts,
Okay.
car alignment equipment, and things that require some higher lead time items. So rather than speeding through the process, we thought it'd be best to pour the south half, allow our framing contractor to start building walls, and we can continue construction while we're waiting for the delivery of some of the
So the
underground
lifts
equipment.
take an extra level of foundation, is that it?
Well, the lifts that they've ordered are lifts that there's 12 of them that are require like a 10-foot excavation.
Okay.
So, and there's like pits. So
Okay.
you have to install the pit, and they want the roof over before the excavation's complete. So we've modified our schedule a little bit to accommodate that. So we're continuing this week. We'll continue with actually backfilling walls, and then next week underground rough-ins so that we can complete our pour. We're hoping by the end of next week or first part of the following week. On Monday the 23rd, we're expecting 5 loads of steel. So we'll offload that steel on the 23rd. We'll shake it out for a couple days and start erection of the steel. By the end of the month, you should start seeing some steel up in the air. So
Nice.
things are going as planned.
So opening spring kind of thing still?
It's spring opening. Yeah, nothing's really changed. The contaminated soil asbestos set us back a couple weeks, but we're trying to make up for it and get the building under roof and closed by the first or second week of December.
Nice.
So, are there any questions?
Any questions? I think we're good.
All right.
Glad to see it's on time.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and then I think this last one, well, almost the last one for you, Alan, blue chip expansion.
Dennis couldn't be here tonight, but he did give me a report, and quite frankly, I was surprised on how far they have progressed. They have continued to make claims requests, and we've been paying those. But on the plastering on the EFIS is 100% complete. The exterior stucco is 95% complete and will be 100% complete next week. The roofing is 100% complete. The asphalt paving, striping, signage will be complete on the 27th of this month. And they will be expecting inside, outside, everything pretty much all the way done. They already have a major booking. Blue Chip already has a major booking for October 11th. So that thing is coming to an end. That project has gone exactly as we hoped it would, and once we got started. And so yeah, they're just about done.
Right. I see the surface checkerboard, if you will, is well under construction, so nice. Any other comments, questions on blue chip? All right, so item number 22, we did receive some correspondence from John Lineweber at Friendship Botanic Gardens. Dear Michigan City Redevelopment Board, thank you for your continued support of Friendship Botanic Gardens. The funding that we have received from the Redevelopment Commission has made a tremendous impact on our ability to serve our citizens and promote our community. Very much appreciative of your generous $60,000 gift, which has been used to fund the construction of the Celebration Pavilion and soon to be completed fence along the Liberty Trail entrance. The pavilion is the very first major construction project since the gardens were created in the 1930s. It can host up to 250 guests for weddings, ceremonies, receptions, special events, business meetings, and more. This will help us attract more people into the Michigan City area and will provide a new sustainable revenue stream for Friendship Botanic Gardens. The fence adds more security to the ground, is more visually appealing, a drastic improvement from the currently broken chain link fence. Your donation is a true gift to everyone within our community. We would love to extend an invitation to all members of the Redevelopment Commission to tour the gardens and experience the newly constructed Celebration Pavilion for yourselves. We would be privileged to give you a personal historical tour. Thank you again and again for your commitment to the community. It's because of your organization that we were able to continue to enhance the quality of life in Michigan City. John Lineweber, Connor Podkol, and Carly Winson. I messed up her name somehow, but thanks so much. So your investment, at least from their standpoint, is well received. And with that, let me flip it back over to Alan, because at the beginning we had an executive session. I forgot to give you any time on that.
Right. Two things. First, we had an executive session immediately preceding this meeting. No issues were discussed that were not permitted by the open door law, and no decisions were made. The second thing to share with you, I sent you an email a couple of weeks ago with respect to an update on our Trail Creek litigation. We did have a final mediation session on August 19th. We actually left that meeting with the idea of kind of a take it or leave it, and they had it for 48 hours. They notified us after 47 hours and 50 minutes that they would accept it. And it ended up being, I think, very favorable to the overall project and to the overall cleanup of that area. We were in the process right now of actually formulating that agreement based on the mediation session. I would expect that'll come before you in October, and I'll give you more details at that point once we have that finalized. But based on the agreement of the mediation, the success of the mediation, the trial that was scheduled for later in October has now been removed from the court's calendar. So that is
good.
nearing
That's a
its
victory.
rapid end, yes.
So I'll belabor it at the next meeting. You could talk a little bit to the community relative to what our lawsuit produced and what the anticipated cleanup costs are. So, thank you. Any other questions for Alan? Okay, Mr. York, do you have any comments?
I have no comments at this time.
All right. Any comments from the public? Any comments from the public? Any comments from the public? All right. Well, we're down to commissioner comments, but I don't know if our friends from Haas are going to come back in time to take some action, global to take some action or not. I'm not sure unless somebody else feels differently. I'm not sure we have enough information to make a call this evening. We do have a special executive session scheduled for a week from Thursday. If necessary, we could perhaps have a short regular meeting that same day. So that may be advantageous given the timing of the season and everything else. So, all right, let me ask any other commissioner comments.
Just to follow up on the where we're at on the discussions or negotiations with the FOP. Did that ever occur, or in regards to a facility off of Cleveland Avenue on the property?
Nothing has yet.
Okay, because it was.
Okay.
My understanding there's still an interest, and I just want to know if there was any dialogue yet on that.
No, Alan and I just talked about it before this meeting a little bit, and we'll do a follow-up on it.
Okay. Other commissioner comments? I understand, and we have a commissioner's birthday coming up, though. Well,
The other commissioner's birthday is Pat Kowalski. His birthday is tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Happy birthday.
He'll be 26.
There you go.
I love you, Teresa.
I love you
Yeah,
too.
and Teresa will be 27th on September 11th. Is that right?
67.
60. Wow. Well, we're glad to have both of you participate in these
Thank
meetings because your input's very much needed. So we have to determine the next meeting date in October because the City Hall's going to be closed on the 14th of October, so I'll have Debbie send something out specifically to pick a day near there.
That's Columbus Day.
Oh, Columbus Day. We are closed there, okay. So we'll be rescheduling that meeting. Any other comments? All right, I'll just summarize it. I am truly excited about being on this commission, and I think John's comments relative to our support of Friendship Gardens and others in the community, a lot of people at least give me, and I'm certain some other members of the commission, a lot of feedback that they really do appreciate the investments that are being made in the city, and it is making a significant difference. I did get an update relative to housing. That is continuing to go up, and we'll have more for that on you later. But if there's anything else for this evening, I'll take a motion to adjourn. We're adjourned. Thank you.